Hey everybody, Smart Silver Stacker here. In today's video, I want to talk about why 2022 is going to be a great year for stacking silver. I'm going to go over 4 reasons why I will be stacking physical silver in 2022 and why it's going to be a great year for everyone who has been stacking and patiently accumulating this amazing physical asset. The first and number one reason I will be stacking is inflation. We just saw the October year-over-year CPI print at 6.2%. That's the highest it has been since 1990. So prices are rising at the fastest pace in 30 years. And gold and silver already had a very positive reaction to this news. Silver is back up over 25 bucks and gold is well over the $1,800 level. And I would not be surprised if we see this rally in precious metals extend into and beyond 2022 as inflation data continues to worsen. In fact, I think 2022 could be the year that both gold and silver take a run at new all-time record highs. Maybe it's an overly optimistic forecast, but these metals are both extremely undervalued, especially silver. The silver price has been consolidating and trading within a range for almost a decade. All the while, the debts have been getting higher and more currency have been created. And based on this recent data, it seems like 2022 could be the year that the inflation genie is finally out of the bottle. And as more and more investors seek inflation hedges and stores of value, I really think that these metals are going to get bid up much higher. And, I've seen a lot of news outlets trying to blame rising prices on supply chains, on the weather, on OPEC, on labor shortages, pretty much any scapegoat except the real cause of the inflation, which is, of course, currency creation. In fact, if you look up the word inflation today, you'll find a definition along the lines of a general increase in prices and fall in the purchasing power of money. However, if you go back to a dictionary printed in 1971, you find a different definition. A sharp increase in the amount of money in credit causing advances in the price level. And of course, this is the correct definition. You can't inflate prices. What you can inflate is the money supply, and that is the cause of rising prices. Milton Friedman said that inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon, and this time is no different. So if you want to hedge against inflation, get some real hard money, the kind that can't be printed, the kind that has to be dug up out of the ground, physical silver. Reason number 2. If you really want to take power away from the plutocrats who control our currency and our economy, then take wealth out of their hands. When you take your deposits in a bank and you turn them into physical metal, bankers don't like that. They want your money where they can control it, where they can shut you off from your wealth with the touch of a button, where they can loan and reloan your deposits using fractional reserve banking, enriching themselves and paying you what? 0.01% interest annually? All while your fiat deposits are losing over 6% of their purchasing power annually, according to their own numbers. When you stack physical metal, you take your money out of the rigged Ponzi scheme financial system and you become your own central bank. Reason number 3 to stack silver: the decarbonization of the electrical grid. Washington has a lot of plans for America's energy grid to go green in the near future. One of the key components of these plans is the increased utilization of solar energy. And one thing you need to make solar panels is physical silver. The Solar Future Study, a document published in September by the Department of Energy, notes that for decarbonization of the U.S. grid, silver is the material that will be consumed at the highest fraction of global supply. The study notes that for U.S. decarbonization, an estimated 5% of global silver production will need to be utilized, and that for global decarbonization, up to 40% of global annual silver production would be required. And this document does go on to kind of downplay the need for silver, suggesting that other metals like copper could be substituted and that the amount of silver needed could be reduced. But this is all based on assumptions. So far, copper-based solar panels are a lot less efficient than those that use silver, and also they don't last as long. And as far as reducing the amount of silver that goes into an individual solar panel, they have become a lot more efficient in their use of silver, but there is a limit to how efficient they can become. Some incremental gains will probably be made, but the bottom line is that to make a lot of solar panels, you're going to need a lot of silver, now and in the future. I'm Personally, pretty skeptical that any of these plans for greening the grid will be successful or effective in any way. I kind of suspect that if solar energy was economically viable and efficient, the market probably would have already moved in that direction, and a lot of these green plans will probably end up being wasteful and consuming a lot of fossil fuels somehow. They'll probably drive the price of energy much higher, but I do think they're going to give it a try, and that means a lot of silver is going to be consumed, and the price of the metal will likely be driven much higher. The fourth reason for stacking physical silver is to eliminate counterparty risk. Precious metals like gold and silver are somewhat unique in that they physically hold intrinsic value. They don't rely on any other party to make good on an agreement. This is why they've been utilized as a store of value for millennia. If you own real estate, you count on your tenants paying you rent, and you count on a system of law and order where you can evict tenants who don't pay. What happens if the tenants in the courts don't hold up their end of the bargain? Well, you're up a creek without a paddle, as many landlords found over the past year. What about your bank account?
We can put that check in a money market mutual fund. Then we'll reinvest the earnings into foreign currency accounts with compounding interest, and it's gone.
What if the bank shuts its doors or its website goes down? How do you get your money? What if they decide to do a bail-in and confiscate some of your wealth? What recourse do you have? Look at Chinese firm Evergrande. They just defaulted on $148 million worth of bonds. And with the current environment, with everyone from nation states to international financial institutions levered up to the gills with massive unpayable debts, it's only a matter of time before we see more defaults like this. What about stocks? What if your online broker goes down, as seems to often happen just when trading gets most interesting? What if the president signs an executive order forbidding the ownership of certain securities, as our previous president did with several Chinese stocks? Well, you're forced to sell, or you can hold on and hope you somehow get your money back. What about cryptos? What if the exchange gets hacked or your country decides to ban their use overnight? Yeah, maybe you can keep some offline in cold storage, but how do you access it if the internet isn't functioning or you don't have power? You get my point. When you take physical possession of an asset like precious metals, you no longer require other parties to fulfill their end of the bargain. The metal itself is the asset, and no one controls it but you. Now, I do want to say nothing in this video is investment advice. This is all just my thoughts. I'm telling you why I'm doing what I'm doing. Before you go out there and buy anything, make sure you do your own due diligence. But as for me, I am still stacking silver. In fact, I just picked up some constitutional silver in a 10-ounce silver bar from ST Bullion. I ordered a generic 10-ounce bar of their choice because it was the lowest premium bullion they had, and I got this cool 10-ounce Eagle bar, so now I've got two of these. I also ordered $10 face value of 90% constitutional silver, and they sent me these quarters, which seem really nice. Got a Washington quarter here on the end, looks like 1952. And let's see what else is in this roll. Let's crack this guy open and see what we got. Okay, so I've successfully dumped the roll here. And what do we have? Looks like all Washingtons, 1964, 1964, 1941. So just some really cool old historical US 90% silver coins. Look like these are in pretty good shape. There's not too much wear on them. So about 7.15 ounces of pure silver in that roll, or thereabout. Now, I paid about 22 times face value for these quarters, which is not bad considering the current prices of 90% silver. It is a pretty steep premium over the spot price, but honestly, I'm not really worried about that because most dealers right now are actually paying over spot price if you sell this stuff back to them, and I expect premiums on these old coins to go much higher in the future. They're not making any more of these, and clearly investors and collectors want them. So I'm happy to pay the current premium because I think when I go to sell, if I go to sell, the premiums will be much higher by then, and 22 times face value will seem like an absolute steal. So what do you guys think? Will 2022 be a great year for silver? Let me know in the comments below. I think it will be, and I think for anyone who has been stacking and patiently accumulating silver, it's really going to pay off. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you'd like to see more videos about investing in physical silver, then check out these videos right here. I will catch you next time. Smart Silver Stacker, out.